Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the NBA DFS video for today. If you are joining me for the very first time, this is how today's video will be structured. It will be a little bit different just in general because we have the in-season tournament, the actual bracket play, the first round, the knockout round today. There's only going to be 2 games out there, so we're going to be looking at the injuries in play for tonight's games, and then we'll go over to DraftKings and FanDuel and do a little bit of a breakdown position by position and kind of talk about the slate in general. It's going to be a pretty interesting one overall. We'll see what these teams look like if they run kind of playoff rotations where starters get big minutes and then they only use 3 or 4 guys off the bench in general if some guys get cut out of the rotation. So just in general, it's probably a slate that I would play a little bit lighter unless you're going out there and trying to play the mass entry game today. But with that being said, we'll get started with the injuries in play for today's slate overall. So for the Boston Celtics, just Kristaps Porzingis out once again. So they're going to look like what we've seen out of them as of late. You know, these 5 stars probably going to play big minutes, and then you have Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser off the bench. We'll see whether or not they use too much of anybody else there. You're probably going to get one of the centers, whether it's Luke Cornett or Quetta, or if they split the minutes behind Horford. It will be really interested to see how that all plays out. And then on the Pacers side, we got Tyrese Haliburton listed as questionable. He's been dealing with an upper respiratory infection. So at this point in time, I have to guess that he's going to play, although he's probably not going to be 100%. And then we got Obi Toppin listed as questionable. He's dealing with a little bit of ankle injury, but should be good to go tonight. And then they have Jalen Smith out. So we'll see if Isaiah Jackson gets the backup center minutes or if they go back to Obi Toppin as that backup center. That could really determine a lot of value overall today. And then for the New Orleans Pelicans, we got Larry Nance and Matt Ryan both out once again. No real changes there. They did get Trey Murphy back in their most recent game, and he even played 22 minutes. And then on the Kings side, we got Alex Len out once again. Chris Duarte is listed as questionable. I don't think he's going to be in the rotation either way if they run that shorter man rotation just in general. So not too much change in here for this Kings team overall. They did get Keegan Murray back in their most recent game, though. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on the injuries in play for today. I will have all the injury updates listed down in the comments, as well as the starting lineups for tonight's games. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings. Once again, I'm going to be talking about the slate a little bit in totality, so we are going to go position by position. So Tyrese Haliburton's $10,900. I think he's purely a GPP play if you really want to go out. He's a high upside guy, but fighting off that illness, not a guy that I'm going to get to too much today. I'd rather just go to De'Aaron Fox at $9,600. He's going to be one of my favorite value plays on the day overall. Looking for 48 out of him, and you see he's averaging 51 on the season. He's been playing really well as of late. If you want to go to CJ McCollum on the opposite side, he came back. He's playing decent sized minutes at this point in time. $8,000, looking for 40 out of him, averaging 41.5. He's a pace up spot versus the Kings as well. Then we move down to Jrue Holiday. He's not a bad play at $6,900. Kind of expect, right around 33 for him, but pace up spot versus the Indiana Pacers, so should be a good, advantageous spot for the Celtics team overall. And then there's Derek White playing pretty good as of late, $6,600. Could easily outproduce that price tag. Malik Monk below him, $5,700. He has to close in this game. He has to get hot in this game for him to really pay off, but a good GPP upside play at that. Bruce Brown just looks like a solid play all around at $5,600. Going to project around, 27 more times than not. Then we get down to the kind of cheap guys. Not really too interested in Dyson Daniels and Jordan Hawkins at these price tags. There's not too much value to go around out there, though. Davion Mitchell missed the last game for the Kings. Don't really expect too big a role for him. Peyton Pritchard is kind of like one of those guys, if he goes out there and he shoots and knocks down a couple shots, could pay off as kind of a cheaper guy at $4,200. Nemhard's 41. He's got the dual position eligibility with point guard and shooting guard, so he's going to have a little bit of value there. Would look better if Haliburton gets ruled out. I don't really trust Jose Alvarado to stick in the rotation, but if you do, he's a value option out there. And then McConnell is obviously in play if Haliburton's out, $3,400. Probably would become the ultimate chalk play since there's not too many value spots on this slate overall. And that's pretty much it for point guard, unless you want to play Keon Ellis, which I wouldn't recommend at this point in time. And then we'll move over to the shooting guard. We got Jaylen Brown at the top, $8,200. He's the guy that's going to project right around 40 for me. Obviously, it's a good pace-up spot versus the Pacers once again. Brandon Ingram, $8,100. 39 is what he's getting on the season. That's what I pretty much have him projected for as well. A little bit of pace-up spot versus the Kings, but CJ McCollum's back at the same time. We already talked about Jrue Holiday and Derek White, but he healed $6,500. You just have to hope for an upside game out of him at $6,500. More of a GPP upside play than anything. Then we move down to Kevin Huerter. I like some of these cheaper Kings pieces just in general because I think they're going to be valuable for our lineups overall. So want to have a little bit of exposure to Kevin Huerter. Want to have a little bit of exposure to guys like Malik Monk, Harrison Barnes. Probably not getting to Keegan Murray today, though. And then Trey Murphy, $5,100. He could pay off at their price tag, so more of a GPP upside swing if you want to take it there. Once again, we're not interested in Jordan Hawkins. Benedict Mathurin at $4,700, another interesting GPP upside swing. Obviously, the Pacers' minutes fluctuate a lot depending on kind of who's playing well. So he could be one of those guys tonight. Not a bad price tag at $4,700 as a paydown option. Sam Hauser at $4,500. He's been a guy that's been pretty solid as of late. Good pace-up spot versus the Pacers. He's one of those key bench players for the Celtics at this point in time. So a very interesting paydown option at that. And then everybody else here, I'm not too interested in. When we already got Mitchell, we got Nembhard that we already talked about. And then everybody else just really not interested in at this point in time. Even if Chris Duarte plays, I don't think he's going to be in the rotation either way today. Then we move over to small forward, Jason Tatum at the top. He's going to look really good today. It's a pace-up spot first of the Pacers just in general. So maybe when we're building out our lineups, maybe we want to build Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox lineups and then kind of go the rest of the way from there. I already talked about Jaylen Brown, Buddy Hield. Bruce Brown, we already talked about. He's a decent play at $5,600. Him and Herb Jones are going to look pretty similar. I think more times than not, I'm going to go to Herb Jones at $5,400. Save $200. More of a pace-up spot for him just in general. And then he's also eligible at small forward and power forward. We'll move down to Harrison Barnes. He's $5,000. If he goes out there, he plays the big minutes. Could pay off at this price tag. Hasn't been the greatest guy so far this year. Keegan Murray is back at this point in time. As long as Barnes plays big minutes, he'll be viable at least at $5,000. Pretty much talked about everybody else. Vasenko, if he's in the rotation tonight, could be a paydown option at $4,000, but it's a little bit of a risky play at that. Kessler Edwards, I don't think is going to be in the rotation tonight for the Kings. And then Delano Ben may or may not be in that rotation for Boston tonight, but $3,300. Maybe you want to go there as a paydown option, but it is a risky play at that. Then we move over to the power forward position. Already talked about Tatum. Zion Williamson's going to look pretty good at $8,700. Playing really well as of late, even though they did get CJ McCollum back. Pace-up spot versus the Kings as well. Probably pays off at this price tag at the very least more times than not. He's a guy that does have a little bit of upside, but never like that tremendous upside game. Once again, not really getting to Keegan Murray. Al Horford at power forward and center is going to have some versatility there. $6,200, not a bad price tag for what he's been producing as of late. Obi Toppin, power forward center, eligible, $5,200. Definitely has some upside to pay off in this game, especially if he's getting those backup center minutes. Then we get down to like Najee Marshall, who I'm not really interested in at $4,600. He's a GPP play if you really want to get there. If he plays well off the bench, he could pay off, but it's not something I'm betting on. And then we have Aaron Nesmith. I think he's one of the better value plays at $4,300. Projects right around 22 points for me tonight. If Tatum's out there and he's playing well, they're going to need his defense on him at the very least. And, Obi Toppin dealing with an ankle injury. If he ultimately ends up missing, Aaron Nesmith is going to be a chalk play tonight overall. And then all the other guys below them at power forward don't really expect to play tonight. We'll get moved over to the center position. So at center, I think a lot of guys are viable. So Domantas Sabonis, $9,900. Looks decent against the Pelicans. Miles Turner versus Boston is going to look pretty good as well at $7,000. And then we have Jonas Valanciunas, $6,800. Probably projects right around 33, so he's a decent value play at that. He's more of a GPP upside type of guy. If he's out there, if he's playing well, he's going to pay off for your lineups just in general. Already talked about Al Horford. Trey Lyles, only center eligible on DraftKings for whatever reason, $4,300. A pay down option at that, but most of the time he's not paying off at this price tag. And then, if you really want to get like to JaVale McGee, you could, but I only got him projected for about 8 minutes tonight, so I don't really think that he's going to be a guy we want to get to overall. Isaiah Jackson, if he gets the backup center run behind Miles Turner, is going to look pretty interesting at $3,800. And then if you get like enough minutes out of, Luke Cornett, Cody Zeller, or Quetta, they could be interesting pay down options, but I just don't expect it on tonight's slate overall. But with that being said, that's kind of a quick little rundown on DraftKings for today. Kind of going position by position on this 2-game slate overall. We'll get it moved over to FanDuel and do the same thing over there as well. So on FanDuel at the point guard position, we still got Tyrese Haliburton at the top. He is $11,400. It's going to be hard for him to pay off at this price tag, especially dealing with that upper respiratory infection. Obviously, if he was healthy, he had a better chance of doing it, but probably not a guy that I'm getting to too often tonight. I still like De'Aaron Fox. He's not quite the smash play that he is Over on DraftKings, though, $10,500, looking for 52-53 out of him. Could easily perform that, especially the way he's been playing as of late. And then we have CJ McCollum. He is point guard and shooting guard and versatility, so that does give him a little bit of extra versatility on the FanDuel side. I think he's definitely in play at $8,300, playing decent size minutes since his return. Pace up spot versus the Kings just in general. And then you got Derek White and Drew Holiday for the Boston Celtics. Both of them are ultimately going to be in play. Both of them do have decent upside, but they have some downside at the same time. The Malik Monk's $5,100 on FanDuel. Point guard, shooting guard, versatility. I do like him quite a bit on FanDuel at their price tag. Does have that really strong upside. And then you get down to your cheaper options. So TJ McConnell mainly would just be if Tyrese Halliburton misses. Same thing with Andrew Nembhard. Nembhard might have a little bit of possibility even if Halliburton plays, but I'm not betting on it. And then, your kind of cheap pay down options here. If you want to go to Dyson Daniels or Peyton Pritchard, hope they pay off today. You could definitely do that. Not really getting to Jose Alvarado once again. I don't think the minutes are going to be there for him. And that's pretty much it in terms of the pay down options at point guard. Then at shooting guard, talked about CJ McCollum already. Jaylen Brown is the exact same price tag as he is on DraftKings. So he's going to be in play. He's going to look like a decent play overall. Then we move down to Buddy Hield, $5,700, shooting guard, small forward, versatility. On FanDuel, it looks a lot more interesting there, especially if he's shooting the ball well. Obviously, the price tag is a lot more elevated on DraftKings just in general. Herb Jones, $5,500. I liked him on DraftKings. I like him on FanDuel as well. Shooting guard and small forward versatility over here. Going to look like a good spot for him versus the Kings. He's had some pretty big spike games as of late, too. Kevin Huerter, $5,000. Definitely going to be in play. A good fantasy point per minute guy at that price tag. And if he ultimately ends up closing this game, it's going to look even better. Then we got Benedict Mathurin, $4,500. Definitely worth the dart throw as a pay down option there. Jordan Hawkins, if you really wanted to throw him out as a pay down option, you could. I just don't think it's going to get there today. So that's pretty much what we have at shooting guard in general. Moving over to small forward, got Jason Tatum at the top once again. Is going to look really good versus this Pacers team in a pace-up spot just in general. So do like getting to him once again. Not a bad price tag at $10,300. Brandon Ingram looks a little bit better on FanDuel at $7,900. Pace-up spot once again versus the Kings. Not really getting to Keegan Murray. You could take some shots at $5,900 on FanDuel, though it's a little bit better pricing. Then we got Bruce Brown, $5,800. Looks like a decent play on FanDuel. Nothing too special, but a guy that can fill out your lineup for sure. Trey Murphy is $5,600. A little bit harder to get to him on FanDuel, just that extra price bump. There is, a little bit of a GPP upside to be had there, but it just kind of remains to be seen how many minutes he'll actually play in tonight's game. And then we'll move down to Harrison Barnes, $4,900. If he's out there, he's playing the big minutes, definitely going to be in play once again. Kind of a pay down option at that. Aaron Nesmith, once again, pay down option. A little bit more expensive than DraftKings, but still looks like a really good play overall, especially if Obi Toppin ends up missing. Then we have Najee Marshall, a little bit better priced at $4,300. You could take some shots there for sure. Same thing with Sam Hauser at $4,100. Once again, don't really expect Chris Duarte, Kessler Edwards to have a major role tonight, so not really getting to those guys. We'll get moved over to power forward. We'll talk about Sabonis when we get to centers. I ain't too worried about him at power forward, but it does help to have that extra versatility. Zion Williamson, $9,200. Quite the pay-up spot for him, but, could ultimately pay off for it. I don't think he has the strong upside as some of the other pay-up options, though. Then we move all the way down to Obi Toppin, $5,300. If he's out there, if he's starting, if he's playing big minutes and he's getting those backup center minutes, he's going to look really good overall. Then we get down to Isaiah Jackson, kind of a pay down option. If he gets those backup center minutes, could ultimately end up paying off. Vishenko, as long as he's in the rotation at $3,900, he's worth a dart throw there. Same thing with Trey Lyles at $3,900. A lot better pricing on FanDuel for him, and he does have the power forward eligibility as opposed to the center eligibility, which helps out a ton. So then we'll get moved over to the center position. Domantas Sabonis very much in play at $9,700, a little bit cheaper than on DraftKings. Definitely do like his upside. Miles Turner, $7,400, so a little bit more expensive, but definitely could pay off that price tag as well. Jonas Valanciunas, $6,900, still projecting him right around 33, but does have some pretty strong upside if he's out there getting the minutes and playing pretty well. And then Al Horford, $6,300, pretty similar price tag to DraftKings, playing really well as of late. Going to eat up a ton of center minutes for the Celtics team overall, so definitely in play. And then, if you really want to get to like a Luke Cornett, a Quetta, Cody Zeller, JaVale McGee at center, you could do it, but I think it's probably a mistake on the FanDuel side today overall. But with that being said, that's a rundown on the FanDuel side as well. Hopefully you guys found these breakdowns pretty useful for today's slate. If you have any other additional questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know if those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then as always, I'll be listing all the injury updates throughout the day as well as the starting lineups throughout the night. Should be a pretty easy one today since there's only 2 games out there at that. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have NBA DFS Monday through Friday in terms of the core pick videos. So this week's going to be a little bit different. So today, Tuesday, and Thursday will be more of the breakdown, and then Wednesday and Friday will be the traditional core pick videos. So we're going to be mixed up a little bit just because of the NBA in-season tournament and the scheduling, how it is at this point in time. And then I also do put out my NFL DFS player pool video once a week. That is typically going up on late Saturday morning or early Saturday afternoon. So definitely be sure to check that out. That's something you're into, as well as the NFL DFS cheat sheets for both FanDuel and DraftKings that I do post up on the sports affiliation website. And then speaking of the sports affiliation, we are running an NBA in-season bracket challenge. It's $5 to enter. Right now, it looks like we're just going to be doing a cash prize. If we get enough people into it, we could do a little bit of an autographed jersey as well. It should be a pretty interesting contest. You know, if you just want to go out, build out a little bracket for an 18 tournament, and it probably makes watching some of these games just a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun in general, with a little bit of betting interest in it as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you are a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, you will get an initial first match deposit bonus. So for Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's up to $100. For BetUS, it's 125% of your initial deposit, I believe up to $2,500. Definitely a great way to start out your sports betting, your prop betting journey. If you have any other additional questions related to that, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport. I'd be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Definitely appreciate each and every one of you checking out this video. It definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.